Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road, right across from Rufino's. Welcome to the Monday edition Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro with us, and Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Troy Macker will be with us later on in hour number one. Brian Kelly press conference at about 11:40. Brian Kelly will be there about noon, so we'll have the extended show as we usually do on Mondays. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Beautiful weather here in the capital city. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Lots to get to, so let's get to it. LSU wins 20-10 over South Carolina. We went into this game. There were some things that I was curious to see, and the number one thing was the health of Garrett Nussmeier. Would he have some with the off week, some zip return to some of the passes, some of the underthrows that we had seen before had people concerned. He had spent most of the off week not throwing a football, so would that make a difference in his ability to deliver the ball down the field? Well, we got a resounding answer to that. Yes, he was able to throw the ball down the field. Probably the best example of that was on a ball that wasn't caught. The 50-yard pass, it was 50 yards in the air to Chris Hilton that Hilton dropped. But from a Nussmeier standpoint, that's the kind of throw that you wanted to see him make. He was able to do that as well as run the football a little bit. And the LSU run game, which we're going to get to, it kind of takes a village. A little bit of help from him would go a long way, and he carried the ball 4 times in the game. He also got hit a number of times besides that, and he got up limping a few times, but he toughed his way through it. So as far as the physical part of Nussmeier, that was fine. The mental part of the game, well, he still made some very, very big mistakes. And LSU turned the ball over twice on the goal line. One of those was a Nussmeier interception, which very simply could not be put on anybody else. That plus another fumble that they were able to recover. And, well, LSU's red zone difficulties right now are what's keeping them, one of the things that's keeping them from really advancing as a football team. This game could have been, with just a little bit more quality execution down the red zone, a lot bigger margin of victory. The second thing was, could LSU run the football, and would they even try? And the answer there was yes, 168 yards in the game. And what I liked about it was that roughly half of LSU's carries went for 3 yards or less. And why is that a positive thing? Well, in my mind, it's a positive thing because LSU kept at it. They did not abandon the run game as they did at Ole Miss. And
test your commitment.
Yes, and when you hammer away in your very first play of the game from scrimmage, Caden Durham is hit for a 3-yard loss. And you say, well, man, you could duck out of that. Well, they did not give up on it. They kept at it, and eventually they broke some big runs, the longest of which was a 56-yarder by Jawan Johnson. The third thing was, could LSU contain Lenore Sellers, and they very much did that. He did not get loose in the run game. 22 carries for only 19 yards when you add in LSU's 5 sacks. LSU was able to get most of this pressure without blitzing. And Sellers is a big physical athlete. He's hard to get on the ground. So, yeah, he broke some tackles, but he never really made that killer play on third down, especially when you worry about the quarterback running. South Carolina was only 6 of 16. You throw in an 0 for 2 on fourth down, and they were able to contain Sellers. 20 sacks against the South Carolina quarterback in the first half of the season. Yesterday, South Carolina fired their offensive line coach. So, those things were all good. The defense holds them to 10 points. It has been, sort of the average. The game didn't have to be this close. The The turnovers were a big deal. They got handed the ball to South Carolina 17 to open the game, had to settle for a field goal. Johnson fumbled inside the 1. Nussmeier threw an interception at the goal line. He threw another interception besides that. Late in the game, they had 1st and goal at the 1-yard line, and that produced a field goal as well. So it wasn't perfect by any stretch, but it was a win, right on the numbers, 9.5-point favorite. They won it by 10, and they get to the halfway point of the season at 5-1.
Max, you were there. What'd you think?
Look, you could certainly tell right away that they were getting pressure without blitzing. PFF actually backed it up. 72% pressure rate, clearly the highest for LSU without blitzing. Mm-hmm. Highest in the FBS, not even close. So, I mean, when you're able to do that, you're going to have success. And Sellers was running for his life.
It's a flipping a script, huh?
Yeah.
Getting pressure without bringing extra men and leaving more to cover. Yeah.
No doubt. And it helps when you have a Mansour Delane who you can leave on
How did this projected maybe possible number 1 overall pick do?
15 of 27 for $124, no touchdowns and an interception.
Pretty hard, huh?
22 carries for 19 yards.
It's hard to throw the ball when you're getting pressured, when extra guys to cover, huh?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And Delane was phenomenal, by the way.
No, Delane didn't allow a yard. It's almost noticeable with him when they target him. There was that 4th down later in the game where they throw it to him, and you're like, what are they doing? It is notable when they even throw to him, and that is just a testament. We're going to forget to mention him every week because he's just that good, and you kind of forget about him, but that's what a guy like him and this whole secondary can do for a defensive front as well.
And that's where Baker has to come into play and just not waste him. Put him on the opposing team's favorite target, take him out, and give the other guy. You pick your spots when you give him a little help and when you put him out there. He's good. He's not 4. And yes, so when you got 0, you're giving up 0 yards, 4th down, critical call. Let's go right at him. Did they fire that guy too?
Not yesterday.
Okay. The offensive line coach make that call?
Well,
because that was his primary target.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And Nick Harbor is a real physical receiver. He's 6'5". He's 235 pounds. He can run. He's a mismatch for most people. I don't know exactly how many times Delane had him, but he only had 2 catches for 36 yards, and that's doing a pretty good job on that kid.
Should have had a 3rd on a fake punt where Delane wouldn't have been covered.
Well, I think LSU got a call there. I think we agreed on that.
So you guys, I was busy, preparing for football Sunday, arranging transportation to and from and a whole bit. So anyway, what about my deal before going in? Because you watched it actually closer than me about. Was it more of a Clemson approach? Was there 2 things? Well, we know that I could look at the box score and I could see that the commitment to the running game was there. But how about getting the ball out quicker? For
a little bit, but they didn't really run the ball on the
protection.
The protection was fine. Nussmeier was not sacked in the game, and I thought he did a really nice job of getting the ball out on time.
What's the pressure rate, Max?
I did not see that number for LSU.
I thought by and large, Jimmy, before he gets the number, he was protected pretty well. And
the running game will help that.
It did. And here's something else that helped it. Trey'Dez Green was a very, very big part of this.
When he's not open, he's open.
You can throw him the football, and he will go up and make a play.
He's Aller's Fleener. We disagreed on that last night. You thought Aller was throwing great passes. I thought he was a security blanket. He knows. He feels any pressure, he can go to that guy, and he's got an advantage.
Yeah.
He can throw it up, throw it high, and that was with, is it Fleener? That's Stanford. Warren. But there's so many balls we just threw up. With such the guy's really good.
Yeah.
Well, Trey'Dez can do things that nobody does, so that is a big deal, man, for a settled quarterback who might anticipate being pressured at times. So, talk to my Clemson folks, man. Even in Trey'Dez, they're like, God, this guy's a headache. He is a headache. So he just presents something that nobody else has.
And they'd been without him for 3 games because he got hurt very early in the La Tech game.
Okay, so does Trey'Dez help kind of ease?
Yes.
Your struggles? Does your best running back kind of ease your struggles?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought we're going to look at the L22. We get that tomorrow, but I thought that just at a glance, and we were rewatching it this morning, I thought Cohen Eccles did a nice job in some parts of the game at left guard. I think it's probably time to make a change at right tackle because that was probably the worst part of of the five. I thought Davis got beat more times than Kern did a week ago at Ole Miss. So I would probably make a change there. I don't think that they will, or haven't heard that they will, but I probably would take a long look at making a change there at the right tackle. But other than that, yeah, I thought they made some strides in this game.
The other thing is that just your experienced quarterback. He's got to. It's time now to make better decisions, and I don't care about him running. I really don't want him running. I don't want him running a lick. Okay, it's 3rd and 3 and it's wide open. Yeah, go and slide and get you 4 yards and move the chains. But I don't want him worried about. I want him worried about making the right decisions, pre-snap reads. You got Trudez now. You got a little bit of a running game, so it's taken a little bit of the excuses away. Now you got to try. You got to earn your money, man.
I don't disagree at all, and I think in every game, except not the Southeastern game, throw that out. But I thought he was good against Clemson. There were no noticeable
very good against Clemson.
No big gaffes in that game. But every other game, there's been 1 or 2 at least, and they've produced turnovers. They've cost them scoring opportunities in the red zone. And, yeah, Jimmy, these are the kind of things. We were so high on Nussmeier before the season started. It was because, okay, he's got, the 14 starts under his belt. He's got this many second full year. You would think that he would have knocked these things out. And some of these mistakes are mistakes that you expect a first-year quarterback to make. He's not making a ton of them, but he's making enough that it makes a difference.
It's time now. I'm sorry. I can't kill him when Ole Miss is rushing 3 and they got 8. I can't kill and getting there. I can't kill him. I just can't. Now, no. I mean, the running game has been a weakness. It was a weakness last year. But when you have your best back, that helps. I mean, look at Alabama's running game without Jam Miller. It's a big drop-off. I mean, it's a lot of teams all like that. And Trudez is a guy that, so now and then that helps you off. The weakest link on your team needs these type of helps. And also, I'm sorry, we got a little aggravated because everything was a big aggravation game in Oxford. But that's some creative ways to try and get production out of your running game with the lateral stuff, the extended handoffs stuff. And you're stretching them out a little bit to maybe try and make it a little lighter in the box when you do want to power run a game. But when they just decided to run between the tackles, their production wasn't bad, Charlie.
Better.
Is it serviceable?
What I saw Saturday is serviceable, yeah. I said, I would make one change on the front.
160, something like that, rushing?
168.
Give me that every game.
Absolutely. 6 yards a carry.
I would say, importantly, 6 yards a carry. The obvious run situations, they weren't quite as effective, and that happens everywhere. But,
sure.
Where it was obvious, and that means you need to run the ball more, because when it's not so obvious, you are finding success. It's the obvious ones, they're not quite getting the push. I will say, Charlie, I'm not totally against you on the right tackle position. He was going up against Dylan Stewart a lot. Weston Davis.
And that's fair. That's a good point.
That's a very
Stewart
is
really
player.
good.
So
if it had been if he had just struggled against Dylan Stewart,
keep him straight. I mean, come on, poor guy been low on sleep.
I got 4 other game films that I could show you, but okay, point taken with Stewart. He's really good. Look, LSU's been far from perfect, and they're still 5-1. You got one loss on the road to a top 5
at
team.
this point. If this is as good as you could expect, huh?
I asked a friend of mine this question: if you flipped Clemson and Ole Miss, okay, and the loss was to Clemson by 5 points on the road in the season opener, and Clemson was 6-0 like Ole Miss is, okay, and you'd beaten Ole Miss 17-10 the way you beat Clemson, I think everybody would be like, okay, that's it. You're probably supposed to lose to Clemson. I think there's that. It's Ole Miss, even though they've been so much better under Lane Kiffin, even though they got the winning record. It's like, okay, LSU feels like they're supposed to beat Ole Miss. Okay, if you lose to Clemson and Clemson would have been a top 5 team they were supposed to be, you'd be like, okay. But from a record standpoint, yeah. And if you just look around the league, nobody's blowing the doors off. Nobody's clearly a notch above. I'm encouraged by the fact that if this team gets better over the next month, and I don't know that they will, but if they do, well, yeah, you can be in the conversation.
What's the biggest gripe about this team?
Right now, or before the game, it was the quarterback and the offensive line. It's still the offensive line and the ability to run the football. But I thought you made some
okay, so that you're getting a little deeper. How about say the offense, huh?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay.
Preseason, we thought it would be a top 10 offense.
Yeah.
And we thought the defense might be
Thought you'd be able to throw the ball down the field and be
25-30.
explosive.
Did you say the crowd? You were there, kind of underwhelmed, kind of half
Left early,
rolling
little
out
surprising
early.
just because of the weather. The weather was awesome, and
It's incredible.
Still left a little early, which everyone's entitled to do whatever they want with their own
Right,
tickets,
but it's still you're
surprising that late in the third quarter in a very close game that it was already starting to empty out a little
I could
bit.
tell you where they didn't leave early. That damn 1-4 team in the Dome yesterday. They didn't leave early. Same deal, huh? One-score game, fourth quarter, right?
They're happy to finally see some entertaining football in the last 2 weeks.
Okay, but I mean, forget 2019, man. 2019 ain't happening here, ain't happening anywhere.
No argument.
Anywhere. Offense. Okay. 422 yards offense. You want to go to the 300 club, the under 3 club, Saturday? Ohio State, they're number 1 in the country. They had 272. Illinois, 295. Oregon, the great Oregon. Offense, 267. Oklahoma, 258. Georgia, 296. Auburn, 277. And the clubs that just got over 300, Texas, 302. Indiana, 326. Bama, 326. Missouri, 330. Michigan, 360. Man, I hate to but Kelly, everybody got to chill out, man. You are in position. You're in great position. You're actually pretty much. You got a chance, man. You really do have a chance. You had 2 games where you were underdog in on the road, and you split them. We do this. Take that, and then you win the rest.
Yeah.
I mean, so there we break it down and we try and go, to different layers. But man, big picture or this season picture, we're not in Happy Valley.
No,
I mean they're ready to run. They're ready to run Nussmeier off. They're ready to run the coach off. We know these aren't. He's not going anywhere. But just some of the conversations you've been around town. Are they sick of Kelly?
Some people are. A lot of people are.
Huh?
I think in some cases unfairly.
So what's it mean? And so the offense is terrible. Sloan, done, right? Huh? Everybody ready to ship him off too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's outperforming all these teams that we think we think great of them. Sometimes we got to get a little away from the sun to see the big picture of what's happening here.
And when we say that you're close, okay, they have all those yards haven't translate into enough points. 420 yards ought to translate into more than 20 points. LSU's problems in the red zone, 14 touchdowns on 24 trips in. Okay, that's a percentage you need to see come up. And when you turn the ball over twice at the goal line, well, you were.
Oh no!
You were 3 feet away from 14 more points.
So if you win at 34-10,
it feels a lot different. I think it does.
I think so too. This is we talk about all
You're
the
3
time.
feet away from 34
Now,
to 20.
the one thing that maintains those other teams are averaging more points, probably.
Yeah, like you brought up
Indiana.
Indiana got 30 points out of their 300 yards.
Can we go to D1? They're 326. They got 30 points. Yes. How'd you like to be his agent right now, Signetti?
Oh.
You want to play Indiana? Well, you're going to have to play.
You're already
want to
paying
play
him $8 million a year, and he getting a raise too.
Just come on, Nussmeier. Just tweak it a little bit. If you rolled the film and you said, okay, which year is it? First year or second year? You'd probably say, oh, this is his first year.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
Yes, with some of the mistakes he's made. Yes, absolutely.
And again, Ole Miss, I could. And I don't care. Tom Brady gonna have a tough time with no running game and getting pressure with 3. It's just the running back's back. The Tradez is back. And we saw significant improvement with protection. Didn't get sacked once.
No,
that's pretty good. He's got it's his turn now. It's his turn now. But they have a chance. And his defense is that good. How did they make this guy look? What was his passing numbers coming into this game? They were pretty damn good, Charlie. Top 10 yards per attempt.
Yeah.
Top 10. And wasn't it fun, strength against strength, where LSU hasn't chased a guy that big, strong, and kind of elusive, all right? And that guy hadn't run away from guys that just kept coming and coming and coming. So that's the fun part of it. I thought Mike Delicano's comments on that and bleeding into and saying it's the same thing you're going to see, because he's kind of echoing what I did. Completely different look and build to these guys, but same type of off-platform stuff. We're live here at Chris's Specialty Foods, man. This is a mainstay, man. You come over here and load up and put the stuff on the green egg. And, Charlie, we have a big-time, we got a nice lunch special today. It's a meatball po' boy. So a meatball po' boy with a Cajun marinara sauce, homemade marinara sauce from a chef over here at Chris's Specialty Foods. So you can do that. You get all kinds of different plate lunches and po' boys and sandwiches and salads as well. And, man, we've got everything you need for your grill. The pork, the beef, the seasonal, the wild game, the seafood, the sides, the soups and gumbos, different homemade sausages and boudin, and where we always have the crawfish pies or boudins in the warmer to kind of grab and go as well. It's just a little bit. Got a little kick to it over here at Chris's Specialty Foods on Airline Highway right across the street from Rufino's.
Live at Chris's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
Back here at Chris's Live at Lunch. Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. It's brought to you by Supreme Rice since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers. Make it Supreme Rice. Go to SupremeRice.com. So a couple more things on LSU and the scoring opportunities that they're not getting. I gave you the red zone number. There's two other things we're gonna look at here real quick. Max, the first drive of the game, where this is your scripted plays, LSU's been bad. There's no other way to put it. And you think those are the plays you're most comfortable with. You go in the script. We've been through all that. What is the number?
Yeah, because sometimes struggling offenses, that's the only time they look good.
Yeah,
go ahead, Matt.
Michigan State, for instance.
Yes, so I went back and looked because LSU this year has been abysmal. They average 11.2 yards per opening drive in games. They've got 5 punts and 1 interception that they've ended on the first drive of the game. I wanted to see out of the 136 FBS teams just how bad this is. By my count, there are only 6 teams in all of FBS play that have been held scoreless on all opening drives. Listen to this company, Jimmy. This is not what you want to be a part of. Nevada, Western Kentucky, New Mexico State, New Mexico, Ball State, and LSU. And it gets even worse when you look at who's even moving it. A lot of those had multiple turnovers or missed field goals. There were only 2 that failed to reach 4 first downs on opening drives. That's LSU and Ball State, who's got 6 3-and-outs on opening drives. So LSU has 3 first downs on opening drives this season, 2 against Clemson, 1 against Louisiana Tech, I believe. They have been really, really poor in the scripted plays. I
don't know what you do about that other than you go back and you have your quarterback sit down with you and say, what do you like? Peyton and Breeze used to talk about this all the time. You sit down on Saturday night, go through the game plan and say, what do you like? What do you? And if there was something that Breeze didn't like, more than likely,
Carl, I'm sure they are.
Peyton was going to throw it. Yeah, I got to believe that they're doing that already. So
it's just
I don't know.
They can't figure it out.
I don't know what else you do about
4
that.
4 straight 3-and-outs now.
Yeah. What was the other stat on points?
Points per opportunity is a stat that looks at when you get in the opposing 40-yard line, how many points do you score? Add them up, average them out. In the SEC, LSU is 12th right now, and they're barely ahead of Texas. That puts you behind Kentucky, not a great offense. Behind Auburn, not a great offense. They're just not scoring when they get there. So they are moving the ball a little bit, but they're just not taking advantage of those opportunities, which we all see, of course.
In the red zone, Green ought to be a huge, huge weapon. He's missed half the games, okay? So you hope that moving forward he's a real weapon down there. Other than that, you just got to – the rest of this stuff is just offensively based. You got to run the football better. You got to protect the quarterback, et cetera. But I think getting Green back will help in the red zone anyway.
Yeah, and the whole everybody wants to talk about Nussmeier and stuff like that, but that graphic was one of the stronger graphics I've seen in a football game. When they put that thing up there, basically it's an arm strength meter. And what was the number where Nussmeier was?
172 of 177.
172 of 177. And we were riding down to New Orleans to do the show yesterday, and I'm like, tell me, coming into this year, Nussmeier's healthy. Who has a better arm? There's not one guy, maybe Sellers. Maybe
Sellers got a big arm, but
okay,
yeah,
but
he's in the
elite arm.
He's in the top.
Elite arm talent
of it. Yeah,
he's hurt.
Yes,
he's hurt.
It's nice to have the number to back it up, but we saw it.
His brain ain't hurt.
No, that's
he's got a.
The decision making is
that
not
even
on the
makes
arm.
it more important on his decisions when he's not 100%.
Yeah, it is nice to have the number to back it up, though. Our eyes were not deceiving.
Did you see that? I mean, what do you like?
I've never seen us that before.
He's going from one of I haven't either. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But and look, they're not perfect, and it might not be truly accurate, but it tells you one of the strongest arms in college football this year is one of the weakest on the field.
We can dispute the stats when it doesn't look like it should be like that. If they had said, no, he's still got one of the strongest arms, like, well, that's not really what I'm seeing. This backs up what we've seen.
Chad Reynolds, a legacy title for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060, full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, which you get when you dial 296-0060. Our great long-standing staff, our team at Legacy Title, Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie, and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Chris's Specialty Foods, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. Three best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
Troy, good job on your picks. Another winning week for us, Max, on Saturday?
Yes, 20-17-1.
20-17-1. So Troy, 3-1. You helped us with that. And a football Sunday?
Another good one. I haven't added them all up because we still got a couple pending tonight.
Leave mine out, please.
Troy, you know my buddy Charlie the Anchor here?
Yeah. That's the second time this year I've done that, going from perfect to winless in a week.
Oh, yes. They giveth, they taketh away, the gambling gods. Troy, your local team, we have watched this one close because this was a head-up pick on the podcast and win total over. I went over 4.5. There was the Maryland Dodgers, all the big boys. So there's a lot of games they're going to be in. And they've been this close, 2 fourth-quarter leads in the last couple of games at home that were forfeited, or they'd already be over, so they're still looking for that 5th win. But Maryland does cover easily, and the over, up and down. So, but what's the feel with this team kind of being kind of close with this freshman star, right? In-state product, starring for the Terps.
I think there's still enough optimism because of Malik Washington, because he's incredibly talented. You can see it. It wasn't just in the cupcake games. It was obviously in the first half and the third quarters of the last 2 games. But this is typically the time of year where Maryland fans lose their enthusiasm because they start the season 3-0. They're optimistic heading into Big Ten play as long as they're not running the gauntlet, and they just can't pick up wins. And so usually around late October, they pump the brakes on football and they shift towards basketball because that is where there's more passion. And there's been a lot of influx in the basketball team, so they're looking at just being optimistic. With they've had 3 coaches over the last 5 years. So, but I think because Malik Washington is a game changer, there is more. They can tell this team is better than past Maryland teams, but the way these results have happened, have been backbreaking. I mean, you took over 4.5. You should be in the clear right now. I mean, they had that Washington game dead to rights, and the Nebraska game is certainly back and forth. But momentum in college football is huge, and so when you go from down 10 to up 11, you should grab that game by the reins and never let up. Now, college football is also a wonky game that can just go back and forth. There is certainly disappointment, but that I myself, growing up in Maryland, am not a Maryland fan, so I'm very happy that my bets won. That's really, I was a little peeved last week because I actually bet on Maryland to win outright against Washington. So, and then I went back to the well on backing them to cover and the over. So I'm happy my bets won. They should have at least one of these 2 wins. I think you could be very upset that they've gone 0-2 against 2 teams that are in and around their tier in the Big Ten. I do think Nebraska's a better team, but I think that Washington game that to me is a little bit more unacceptable. Getting a team coming off of a game they didn't play well against the best team of the country, and now they have to come across the country. You need to win that game, and so that's the one that still would be stuck in my craw if I were a diehard Maryland fan.
Three possessions and only one, three and outs and like a 5 and out, one first down. You didn't eat up any of the clock with a 23 lead late in the game against Washington. Who are the big winners for the public and for the house in college football on Saturday?
Yeah, well, the House cleaned up on Oregon, Indiana. A ton of money. That was the third biggest win of the weekend per game was on Oregon, Indiana, because I was a bit surprised that heading into the weekend it was a little even. The money and tickets leaning towards Oregon, but it was far more balanced. And looking at the money, it was lopsided in Oregon's direction, and that was just such an impressive result from Indiana. So. Big win for the sportsbook on that one in college football. And the big loss, we took some huge bets on Tennessee to cover against Arkansas. So that was another one where the sportsbook won. Where the public won, the Georgia-Auburn game. Took a ton of huge bets on Georgia, -4, and they obviously won by 10. I'm sure you guys have spent some time or will spend some time talking about Kirby Smart's antics with that timeout. I'm not a big complaint about the referees and coaches, but that was atrocious, and it got me thinking, I don't understand how in baseball, if you ask an ump what he's having for dinner, you get tossed. You roll your eyes in basketball as a head coach, you get tossed. College and pro football coaches can dog walk a referee, can go out on the field, get spittle in their face, and they don't get an unsportsmanlike penalty. They can overturn timeouts without even going to replay. So I was kind of hot at that. But the public, that is to say, the public did pick up a nice win on Georgia covering against Auburn.
Yes, Troy, you're speaking to Fade the Public, Jimmy Ott, and that was my biggest bet on Saturday, was the Auburn Tigers. So for trailing for about 20 seconds of the game, and Stockton, who could have gone down. But listen, no, I know these guys. I'm a big boy here. I mean, I know these guys. Some run in for the touchdown. Some guys slide. I get it. I mean, Jordan Love yesterday, I mean, my goodness. He put a little pressure on the kicker. The survivor guys with not getting that extra 2 yards when he could have easily. But damn it. I mean, he going to be up 17-0. So but control what you can control. And when they won, big win at Baylor. What? This guy can't throw. They don't trust his arm. He's not comfortable throwing. You can't run. You can only run the quarterback draw so many times before defense is going to stop it. Any defense. And so there's just the yards and the points are so hard for Auburn. It's a shame because they could play defense. And this Georgia team is not as good as they've been. But you know what? They just keep covering the last 2 weeks. Chasing Charlie? Are we going to chase them? Are we going to go get it?
Yeah. Maybe
okay.
Maybe a little bit. I did get a chance to see this morning the wide cut on Kirby, which you can see, and I'm not defending Kirby at all. That play had to end in a timeout or a penalty. It can't just be a do-over. But I do see the Auburn safety clapping, which is a violation, okay? But Kirby was clearly calling timeout. And then you're right, Troy. He's out there just absolutely
Kurt.
Just blowing out the referee.
Kirby's a star in the league. He gets the benefit of the doubt. He gets a longer leash. I mean, So it's just kind of stick around, Troy. This SEC stuff. This officiating gets fun, brother. Don't you worry, Troy. I mean, this has a long history. So anyway, all right. Who was the big winners for the house or for the public on yesterday's NFL action?
Yeah, Steelers. We took heavy action on the Steelers to cover. Looking back at that, they're only 5.5 on the road against the Browns team. They got a little fight at them, but they're not talented. Dylan Gabriel, I think he set some rookie record of throwing most pass attempts in the game or in 2 weeks without a touchdown. So that was a big one. Patriots -3.5 was a big one for the public as well. That 6% of the total Sunday handle was on Patriots. But the biggest one, it was a loser, was the Lions. We took a ton of money on the Lions to win outright. I think people are, when you get to the end of a dynasty, whether it was the Patriots or the Warriors a couple of years ago, people really pump the brakes and pull out. And we've seen that on the Chiefs, but they have rebounded. And so there was a very, very, very big public loss on the Lions coming up short there last night. The other wins, people were back in the Rams at the Ravens, obviously, in just a brutal, ugly game. But, that was a cover there. And And, while there were strong public leans on the Colts money line, 89% of the money was on the Colts money line, the Cardinals put up more of a fight than people anticipated, so that was a loss as well. Overall, it wasn't the bloodbath for the public that it was last week, but it was, on Sunday, the house did clean up across the board.
Yeah, we'll get to that, the Jacoby Brissett, and losing Harrison in the middle of the game, and just going up and down the field with the passing game. I had a little strong opinion on Kyler Murray after that Thursday night game. I had enough of him, and this doesn't make him look any better, with the passing game just having so much more life with the backup. So I was on those two public sides with Pittsburgh and and I forget the other one you talked. Oh, the Rams, and that was a struggle. And just poor Baltimore, man. It just wow. They'll get the bye week. They get Jackson back. They get Nakobe Dean back as Roquan Smith. I'm sorry. Another great Georgia defensive player. But they get him back and win a couple of weeks as well. We'll see, though. The Steelers have a nice cushion in the AFC North. Tonight, a really nice doubleheader. A really nice, Bills, Falcons, Bears, Commanders. Where's the money at?
Yeah, heavy action, strong action on the Bills. 93% of the money, 94% of the tickets to win. 72% of the money, 78% of the tickets on the Bills to cover, -4 on the road. The over is the play there, 85% of the money, 65% of the tickets on the over at 50. Falcons, coming off a bye, last time out, put up a ton of points against the Commanders. Bijan Robinson looked legit. Commanders' defense is not good, but the Bills' defense hasn't been playing great either, in my opinion. I know we think the Bills are the best team in the NFL, but they have a propensity to show up lame sometimes. Obviously, they did last time out. And they're not a team that is always going to grab their opponent by the throat. They can play with their food as well as anyone. Teams like the Ravens that consistently play with their food. The Bills tend to do that as well. So I'm not nearly as strong on the Bills as the rest of the public. And that Bears-Commanders game, they played 4 years in a row. This is their fourth straight primetime meeting. Obviously 1 versus 2 in the draft, and Williams and Daniels the Hail Mary last year. In the game, the Commanders should have won by 20. Then they should have lost, and then they ended up winning. Right. So there's a little bit more heat to this game than typical. Right now, 67% of the money and 78% of the tickets on the Commanders. Spread is 57% of the money and tickets on the Commanders at home at -5.5.
Okay. And
then 78% of the money, 62% of the tickets on the over. This game worries me as a Commanders fan. Just their defense has not been good. Jaden Daniels is slowly coming back, but they just don't have a lot of weapons. And the Bears are an enigma, a little mercurial. When they're good, they're really good, but they're not always good. And I think you can get to Caleb Williams and make him flustered. And the rushing attack hasn't been elite this year or anywhere near close. So this is a very tricky one for me to bet on. I think I'm just going to stick back and hope my team picks up the W.
Troy, welcome to the NFL, okay? The most lopsided matchup was Cincinnati and Green Bay, and that thing came down. That was very much in doubt, very much in doubt. So there are no gimmies. There are no gimmies in this league. And to be more specific, the Bears are a young team, young coach team, a young quarterback that has some talent that you just don't know what you're going to get, from week to week, from play to play, from drive to drive. So I do like the way Daniels finished after a little rusty early, fell behind 10-0. They got the fumble. I forget what receiver fumbled for the Chargers that they were going to get. It was going to be 13 or 17.
Oh, Quentin Johnson.
Quentin Johnson. Charlie, you remember?
Captain turnover.
The hands team.
Yeah.
If he's on the hands team, Charlie, we got a problem.
Captain Butterfingers. Yeah.
So he. He just finished strong. They could not stop him. I mean, even in running clock, they ran the whole thing out. So I think he has a way to making the supporting cast a little bit better. So the Bills, that favorite, very public. Commanders, slightly public in those tonight. Quickly, Troy, baseball games, doubleheader afternoon night in the championship series.
Yeah, we're looking kind of split, which is surprising, especially in the Mariners-Blue Jays game. Right now, money line is about 61% of the money is on the Mariners and 58% of the tickets is on the Mariners. after picking up game one. I think the Mariners have become, I don't know if they're a public team, but from a popularity standpoint, they've become a very popular team in media and fans. The Blue Jays are a good team. They got bats. People love Guerrero, but I think that we're going to see the Mariners, regardless of home or away, or if they get down in the series, even though they're up. This is going to be a team that people are going to be more likely to back. And the Dodgers still continue to get lion's share of the money. It's not what it was 2 years ago or early in the season, but right now we're talking 75% of the money and 83% of the tickets on the Dodgers to win. But the under is actually the play with 61% of the money and 59% of the tickets. Obviously slightly split there. This should be a fascinating series because I think the Dodgers are far more vulnerable than they have been in past years.
How about that last night? They weren't. The Mariners weren't public last night in Game 1. A lot of people thought they would be a little sleepy-eyed after that 15-inning game on Friday night. Not the case, but they come back and win. And it was the first pitch of the game in the bottom of the first for Toronto. Springer goes blast. That's it. That's it for the offense. They're hitting all night long. Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macker. That's Machir. Troy, thank you so much. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
We're at Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road, just across from Rufino's. Again, serving lunch Monday through Friday over here at Chris's. Our lunch special. We've got a great menu over here, but in addition, the chef puts out a different chef special every day. Today, it's a meatball po' boy, homemade meatballs with a Cajun marinara sauce, a little spicy marinara sauce today for lunch here at Chris's Specialty Foods, where you get all your grilling items, everything that you need on Highland Road right across from Rufino's.
Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
And we return here at Chris's the Brian Kelly press conference coming your way, starting at 11:40 with the pre-show, and then BK up there at noon. Today is sort of the media gathering for SEC basketball, which is not that far off. LSU men picked to finish 15th. No players on the first, second, or third team, all conference teams preseason. The ladies are picked to finish third in the league. Flau'jae Johnson, first team, all SEC. Michaela Williams, second team, all SEC. The men's predicted order finish. Jimmy, you want to take a crack at this? I know we're not really in basketball mode. Kentucky is picked to finish second.
Tennessee?
Third.
Alabama?
Fourth.
Who's won?
Defending champs, baby. Defending national champs.
Jeez, Florida Gators.
Florida Gators, yeah, they're predicted to finish first.
I hadn't done. I know
I caught you with a basketball.
Yeah.
I know this was happening this morning. I need to wanted to mention it while we had a short
Kentucky
seg.
would be spike up there. Second year Pope. He got all his. We know what kind of money they're putting behind it. So
Otego Away is the preseason conference player of the year at Kentucky. Well, and they've got
the new players that they have, and and Golden. I don't know how many. We got to see exactly. I know Auburn's got him. The one player is returning. As soon as Pearl handed it over to his son, he left. Bedford.
Yeah. Auburn is picked to finish sixth in the league. You want to know who's picked behind LSU? South Carolina again, picked to finish 16th in the league. So
how much longer?
One more year, I think.
Okay.
Be here back after the top of the hour, live at Chris's Specialty Foods, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
Here at Chris's, across from Rufino's, live at lunch. Come on in for lunch today. The meatball po' boy is on special. Looking forward to that. A little chance to nibble on some boudin balls.
Yeah, I like that when you come over here to Chris's Specialty Foods. They've got the warmer, so they got the meat pies, the crawfish pies, the crackling, and the different boudin balls. So standard boudin balls, and then ones with the pepper jack cheese, a little extra spice. So.
And these are big boudin balls. These are like big meatballs.
Charlie, is nobody questioning the balls over here at Chris's Specialty Foods, okay? Nobody.
The
big
size
onions
is impressive.
over here at
Big
Chris's.
portions. Big portions. Yesterday in the Superdome, we were down doing football Sunday at Caesars. Patriots come away with a 25-19 win over the Saints.
Entertaining.
Very entertaining game. The Saints scored on every drive in the first half, save for the end of the half. Kneel down. The Patriots scored in there all but one drive in the first half. So it was kind of going back and forth. You had some big plays. You had some big mistakes. And in the second half, the offenses calmed down. The defenses played a lot better, and each team managed a field goal, 25-19. Saints fall to 1-5. Been quite a while since they've been in that kind of hole to start the season, but
record very predictable.
Yes,
more competitive than expected.
I think so. Save the Seattle game. Okay, the Seattle game was a mess, but the other games they've been right there.
Every game they could have won.
Every game.
I mean, they're not saying should have. There's a big difference, but they could have.
They were right there in all of them, and except for Seattle. And so is Spencer Rattler getting better to you?
He is better than I thought. Yeah, he's improving. He's improving. But see, where the Saints don't lack talent is their skill guys. They got weapons, man. Now look, one of them fumbled, and he's the guy that it can do some things that are really, really, really good.
Juwan Johnson, and it was a controversial call.
And he'll, not that it's a drop, but he has it on his hands to tie it against Arizona or set up a 2-point conversion to win the game. That's the biggest play yesterday. I mean, they're driving to take the lead or cut it even closer in at midfield. It'd been 1st and 10, and he coughs it up. And so it's just, Shaheed is special. Olave, he
couple drops.
Yes, I mean, so he can be. Kamara, I know the numbers because they've got guys offensive, but the weapons, Rattler's got a nice set of weapons. I'm sorry. They're top 10 to me in the league. I mean, even with the Bills. You think the Bills have better weapons than the Saints? Not the quarterback. Not the quarterback. We get that. But my point is, you have to think about it.
Yeah.
So we're talking about this roster is pathetic, and it's not at skill position, and that does help Spencer Rattler grow. So with some time and with some reps, he's getting there. He's still better than I thought, and he's got a chance. He's got a chance to be a starter in this league.
You're seeing him
He's
throw the
kind of
ball
on
down
that
the field a little
fringe,
bit.
don't you think?
You're seeing him throw the ball a little bit further down the field. At the beginning of the season, what was apparent to me was he was getting out of any bad habits that would cause turnovers. He's been very careful with the football, and through 6 games now, he's only thrown 1 interception. Okay, well, that's great. Unless you look at it and you say, well, if you're being so cautious with the ball that you may not be making any mistakes, but you're not making many big plays either.
You think he's being overly cautious?
At the beginning of the season.
Oh, okay.
Over the last 2 games, you've seen that change a little bit. Last week, you had the long play to Shaheed that went for 87 yards. Yesterday, first play from scrimmage, they hit Olave for 50. He's starting to push the ball down the field a little bit more. He's starting to gain a little bit of confidence. Not for nothing either, but the left tackle, we talk about all the draft failures, okay, and there have been plenty, and I'm as guilty as anybody pointing that stuff out. They have hit on some guys, and Banks looks like one of those guys that they have hit on. They are not giving up any pressures off of Rattler's blind side. That's a big help. I think the move over to right tackle has helped Fuaga. I think he's better over there. So you've got these two. You talk about roster build. These 2 guys, your last 2 first-round picks, look like players. I mean, look like they can be upper echelon tackles by the time they get into the prime of their careers. That's encouraging.
What and Mike and I for years, we want to see first-year coaches how they develop over time, and to break it down into individual units. And his specialty, which Kellen Moore is quarterbacks and offense, and so is Rattler developing. I have to say, absolutely, huh?
He's better. He is better. He
has
getting
a ceiling,
better, yes.
Charlie. He has a ceiling. So, but he's better than I expect, and I think Moore is doing a really solid job. Okay, with it. I mean, that man, Hey, guys, what were they playing blindfolded in the secondary to start the game? I mean, my goodness, what are they doing? I mean, guys wide open left and right, like you don't see that in the NFL.
Just when I was starting to feel good about the safeties too, because Sanker had made some real nice plays earlier, in the season.
That kind of puts you behind the 8 ball, where your offense would have gotten a much better. People would have felt even better about them, more appreciative to them, if they didn't have to score every time to keep up.
Yeah, and in the second half, it did get a lot. It did get a lot better.
But no, I'm wrong on Rattler. I didn't give him any chance to be adequate, be serviceable, to ever have a chance at being a starter. And I think Kellen Moore's doing a nice job with him. Let's pump the brakes, man. What is this? Start 10, 11? We got a long way to go to get to 25. We got a long way, but in the process, he gives you a chance. He gives you a chance. There's some quarterbacks in this league you got no chance when you go.
Right.
You go to the game and stuff, and they have been in a lot of games with a less than average defensive roster.
So the Saints are going to have some decisions to make. First of all,
sell
here in about 3 weeks. Okay. The trade deadline is November 4th, so you got about 3 weeks before you got to do something. There are some players on this team that you might be able to move and get something for. I think that before the season, I would have told you if they moved Kamara at the trade deadline, which he does not want to leave. He actually likes it in New Orleans. He wants to stay there. And Mickey Loomis has said, we talked to Alvin. Alvin wants to stay here, but if they get knocked out of the get knocked in the head with an offer. I think Kamara's value is a little bit up from where it was at the beginning of the season, and I think there's some contending teams that could use him. The Chargers come immediately to mind, having lost their top 2 running backs. Although the rookie yesterday, Vidal had over 100 yards, so maybe not. His familiarity with Sean Payton in Denver. Would you consider moving Kamara? Would you?
What do you mean? Yes, absolutely. You're the better. That's fine, Alvin. We appreciate you love the city, okay? And that's fine, Mickey, but Alvin's not the GM, okay? And what are you competing for right now? And what are you going to be? And you know what, Alvin? When you show up at Denver and you playing for something again, because he had a taste of that. He did play for something on the line in the playoffs before, and he'd warm up to it a little bit as well. So I don't want to hear these quotes about he likes it, but, man, that's crap. That's not how you run your football team. Now, there's a price. We're not giving him away, okay? But maybe instead of sell, you better try to sell.
The second guy, and I know what you're going to say, but to me it's multi-layered, is Shaheed. I wouldn't want to trade Shaheed. Shaheed is young enough that he is, I think, how dynamic he is. We were sad he's got more explosive plays than anybody except Tyreek Hill the last 4 years. He's 27 years old. He has been a difference maker, okay? The question is, his contract is up at the end of the season. If you have decided that you are going to match his price and you got a pretty good idea he's going to be expensive, then by all means do not trade Shaheed. He's 27 years old. He's entering, the prime 3 or 4 years of his career, I think, are right here in front of him. But if you are going to flinch at paying him in the offseason and there is a chance that he can walk, what he would fetch right now at the trade deadline would be significant. I wouldn't do it. I would keep him. I think, and I would sign him in the offseason. I would trade Olave before I would trade Shaheed.
Can you see what they get for him first before we go offer opinion?
Well,
everybody has their price. You know that.
Yes, yeah, okay. And I'm not. When I say Shaheed would fetch something, I'm not saying he would fetch a first-round pick necessarily.
Sure, but I would like to have Rashid. I think I'm higher on him than 99% of interest. Can I see 2 vertical shots a game to him, please? Can I just ask, is that too much to ask?
No, I don't think
2 out of 70 snaps. Can we just see 2 to him? You mean, show it. You're either going to loosen him up or he's going to hit or you're going to get a flag or something. I mean, is that too much to ask? But anyway, everybody has a price. And if they do set it, they got to try and move him, Charlie. You see,
Look, as optimistic as we are that they look better than we thought they would, because we thought they would be an absolute dumpster fire. They're still 1-5. Okay, they're not going to make the playoffs. So if you got a chance to sell at the deadline and pick up some draft capital, I think you do it, and I think you can get away with that without crushing morale down there. I think that's what they're worried about.
And the other thing is they're not going to have any easy wins. I mean, they've had some close losses, but they're probably going to be less than 500 the rest of the way. I would think that's safe to say in Tampa Bay and some others.
I think we're going to get closer to year 5 than my 2 when we talk about wins at the end of the season.
That's fine, just under 6.
The second thing is, at some point, do they want to take a look at Tyler Shuck? Now, we just talked about Rattler. Rattler's made some progress. Rattler potentially has a future. Do you want to go into this offseason not knowing anything about Shook at all? You're going to have a high pick in this draft. There's going to be a lot of quarterbacks in this draft that are going to carry potentially a grade up there that you could take. You may not have the number 1 pick, but you'll be picking high enough that you could take a quarterback if you wanted to. Is Rattler your future? Does Shook have any future here, or are you going to be committed to using that draft pick on a quarterback? And I don't know. Right now, I would tell you I still don't think that Rattler is a upper echelon starter in the league, but he's better than I thought. And I don't know much about Shook at all. So do you want to find out before you get into this offseason what you have in the rookie out of Louisville?
What do you think? I think Rattler might be better than Shook.
Well, right now he is. There's no question. It's you're trying to project out.
No, move.
Yeah, and he very well might be. Max, you've been a Spencer Rattler guy from jump. Are you comfortable enough with him that you don't really need to take a look at Shook?
I like Rattler. I really like Rattler. But he's going to have to win some of these games because I agree.
Oh, Max.
Max,
he can't cover the guys 30 yards downfield.
I agree with you.
He had no bearing on him not being able to.
I've been making those excuses for him. But, Jimmy, the problem is if they're 1-8, 1-9, and you know you're going to have a top 5 pick, you got to see what you have in Shuck before you draft a quarterback. And, there's good other guys out there. Reuben Bain's out there if he's available. But if you're not going to take a quarterback with a top 5 pick, you better know for sure that you don't have a quarterback on your roster. And I do think that they would maybe explore a Tyler Shuck if things are really going poorly and they're not winning games.
That's fine too, and you might get something as certainly. But you don't think Rattler people would value him as a backup right now? I think so.
They would. He's better. They are 5th to last in the league in scoring, and a lot of that is red zone issues. I'm certainly not going to blame it all on him, but he is a quarterback, and he's got to take some responsibility for that. Look, they're getting into the red zone now. Okay, hallelujah. They're actually moving the football.
Don't you think they're moving the ball better in the last 3 than the first 3?
They absolutely they are.
Okay.
It's a similar problem in LSU. The yards are coming now. The points aren't coming. And maybe he gets that worked out in the second half. Maybe they are a better scoring
team. He's still
in
the 20s as far as, he's in the lower third as far as the starting quarterbacks in the league. Okay, so
Blake Grupe is 8 for 10 in his last 2 games. That's way too many times we're seeing Blake Grupe on the field.
This is not a great team. This is not a great team. We're trying to evaluate individuals as part of this. And do you want to start over with the developmental process with your young quarterback?
And
because that's what you're doing. You're throwing away these 10 if you're going to.
Right.
Now, if you got, and they got to, and it's hard to tell in practice, in scrimmage controls when you got a non-contact jersey on. It's completely different when you take that non-contact jersey off playing the position.
There's also no slam dunk can't miss. There's no Andrew Luck up at the top of this draft. There's no Joe Burrow. There's not even a Trevor Lawrence. You ask 10 scouts right now who the top quarterback pick in next year's draft is, you might get 5 different names. So if you like Sellers, if you like Mendoza.
I think it's Sellers and Mendoza. And Mendoza is why he's every bit as big as Aller, his measurables, which we say, well, Jimmy, you tell me, why they like Aller, his measurables. So but this guy's got all those measurables.
Right.
And, and then now some pro people sitting there like, oh, no, he's got to me, every bit the arm, and he's more athletic, and he just makes better decisions. He was buried in Cal.
Yeah.
So, but that's just not, I think it's Mendoza and Sellers.
Well, there's another name that, and I don't think he's going to come out, but he could. And up until Saturday, I would have said it was maybe starting to trend in the direction of him coming out, and that's Dante Moore. If he were to put his name in the draft, he would probably go in the top half a dozen picks.
Why would he not come back and start another
That's
year?
what I think too. I think
It's
he'd be way better off, but I can't tell you that
over.
he's not coming out. I agree with you. And up until just a couple of weeks ago, I said, I'm pretty sure he's going back. And then he started to trend up a little bit. Saturday wasn't great for him, but he could put his name out there. It's just something to think about. Yeah, we're brought to you by the Thibodeau store and the Pierre Part store, and they have now expanded the LaRose store and the Lockport store. Look, we got half a football season left, so there's plenty more tailgating to come and awesome weather to do it with. Get your outdoor kitchen and your tailgating supplies at one of these properties, Jimmy. We've made trips down to the Thibodeau store, the Pierre Part store. Max practically grew up in the Pierre Part store, but I know you got all your
Max's best pick ever.
all your gear at the Pierre Part store before the season.
When Max would try to say, man, I love that store. What are you talking about? You love that until you've been, and then you go. That summer field trip was a big success.
Yeah.
A big success. Went down there, and then I've got a rack for my firewood that's coming up, and I had to go get a couple of boards sawed off for it and stuff like that. Went back to the lumber company, got groceries and everything I need for my grill and all the accessories and the gadgets and stuff like that. And that's what I do, man. I come over here to Chris's Specialty Foods and load up and get that green egg that I got from the Thibodeau store and get that electric starter that I got from the Thibodeau store and the mitts, the brush, you name it, man. Everything over there. They got everything you could possibly want, imagine, and even more at the Thibodeau store, the Pierre Part store, the LaRose, and the Lockport store, because it's just independently owned hardware stores and other things that are available that just high-level execution, man. So you get the friendliness, the coziness of an independently owned operation, family-owned, with really expertise of knowing what they do.
Online, it's thethibodeaustore.com, and that will get you, you can scroll down to any of the other stores from that particular website, thethibodeaustore.com. Live at Chris's Specialty Foods, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
When they say the old cliche, boy, things can change in a hurry. I don't know that I've been more surprised over a firing than I was yesterday when we were watching NFL and the news came across that Penn State had fired James Franklin. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but for a coach that 3 weeks ago, in fact, 15 days, if you want to break it down, so 3 games, not even 3 weeks, was a top 3 team in the country. Oregon was coming in. You're going to overtime and then double overtime.
Ball's on the ground.
Yeah.
Oregon's down there the last play.
You've got a chance to win that game. If you win that game, no way to prove it, but I think they figure out a way to win out in Los Angeles, even against a resurging UCLA. And then Saturday against Northwestern. Yes. Northwestern had 10 more first downs than Penn State. James Franklin went from top 3 coach, one of the 3 or 4 favorites to win the national championship, to unemployed.
Oh, he getting paid though.
Oh, that was the other part of it. Thank you. $50 million. We're doling it out like candy.
Let's not shed a tear for James Franklin. Okay?
And I'm not. He's got $50 million coming, and there's another job out there. He's only 53 years old. There's another job out there for him if he wants it.
I've got a lot of opinions on the names being thrown around. We'll get to that a little bit later. But I was surprised. Couple of things though that historically you've watched, and these high preseason rankings that you get for nothing, they place a lot of pressure on them, and coaches have gotten fired. I mean, this is James Franklin. I mean, he's won a lot there. I mean, he's we know he struggles in the big games. Most coaches struggle in the big games, maybe not to that degree, but this is not Penn State in their heyday, which he took over. This was he at least stabilized them, and became. I mean, I don't know, man. I didn't know Penn State was the program to say where they're having to pay the players now, and so they're not in the business as much as paying coaches not to coach, and they would be the one to bite $50 million. But it's also 12 years at a high expectation, high resource program. is longer than most. That's going to be in the upper 15% maybe. If you just track them, I mean, it's up there. And so the preseason ranking applied more pressure. And then, man, you lost again on the big stage, okay? But then it carried over, and you lost where you hadn't lost at all. And I agree with you 100%, Charlie. They don't lose that game. They beat UCLA. They go right there anyway, and Northwestern. And then what we see this year, man, when you boosters, who's paying the money? Who told you? Yeah, I mean, the AD did just fire him without contacting the boosters. Y'all gonna help me out on this?
Yeah, that money's not coming out of the chemistry department's budget.
They're all there watching the fans, cheer, chant, fire Franklin, fire Franklin. I mean, the whole thing. So it just kind of makes it just. You deal with the post game all the time. That emotion is high at that time. Instead of you got your little crew administration in your box, removed from most of the crowd. But when your home crowd is doing it, it does more damage to the job security of the coach.
Jimmy, if people don't think that those decisions are not made, or at the very least heavily influenced by what happens in those suites and the athletic director's box on game day, you're not. Trust me when I tell you, I can.
They're there to see the displeasure of either the empty seats or the displeasure of their fans,
and the emotions running high. And I can look. You want to sit down and tell stories? I can tell you at least 2 LSU coaches who were fired or retained in the suites during the game. Okay, where the decision was actually flipped. Okay, I can give you not just one, but one's obvious, but I can give you another one that absolutely happened. But we talk about fireable record all the time. Franklin in the last 3 years was 34-8. They won 2 playoff games last year. I understand they weren't against the blue bloods of college football, but they made the Final Four of college football, and frankly, probably should have beat Notre Dame, but they didn't. That's kind of, I guess, part of it. In 3 weeks, 15 days, you go out there. It was shocking to me. Would you have fired him?
I don't.
If you had the money in your pocket,
if money was a problem, no, I got to let him finish the season.
Yes, that's what I thought too. I'm not going to fire him on the Sunday after Northwestern.
Oh, it's not good, and you're probably out because the schedule's not tough to begin with.
And the worm is turned with the fans. I mean, it's going to be hard to bring them back and support him. I get that, but I wouldn't have fired him yesterday.
Imagine if I told you 365 days ago that James Franklin would be fired before Billy Napier.
You couldn't even place a bet. I mean, it's impossible to win. No,
I got burned, but being a semifinalist, they were not one of the top 4 teams in the country last year. They just weren't. They finished in the top 4. But this is sort of the pre. But the other thing, Charlie, them other guys didn't come back. Singleton and the other running back and Allaire and they didn't get those 3 receivers from Troy, USC, and Syracuse without having to pay them to. So I mean, they are paying as much as anybody. But listen, with these coaches make too much money, they make too much money to coach. So it's unrealistic money and it's unrealistic expectations. But you can't have Indiana winning and Vandy winning and somebody not paying.
No argument there.
Don't you think that, like, wait a minute, this guy, this loudmouth in Bloomington, how come we can't be as good as them?
At Penn State, that is a reasonable question. All right, talk to me about replacements.
One and then move on. It's Signetti. Big Red. You want to play? You got to pay. You want to play? You got to pay. So Signetti's going to do it, and he's, he followed up a Cinderella year with a better year. We thought that they were better because they didn't have a win like Illinois last year. And then they go to Alton and beat them and hold Oregon to under 300 yards. They had a big play go against them, a pick 6, and still overcome it and win. I mean, Indiana.
Guy's got like an 8-year contract at $8 million a year. I can't even imagine what it would take to get him out of there. We're talking about mind-blowing amount of money. I would tell you that the other name that is going to come up a lot is Matt Rule. and Rule is off. Has had to rebuild Nebraska, and Matt Rule worked for this athletic director at Temple. So you got a guy that's in the Big Ten. He knows the AD. They've worked together before. They've been successful before. Matt Rule's name is, and of course, Rule played there too. So his name's going to come up.
You just had Matt Rule. Matt Rule had what's the big wins he's got, Charlie?
No,
where's his big wins, Charlie? He doesn't have any.
Not in Nebraska.
Well, he played at Temple. He played Notre Dame close.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at Baylor. Well, Aranda's got more conference championships than he did at Baylor. Okay. What's his big win in Nebraska? Maryland. Don't give it to me.
Don't have one.
Okay, so wait a minute.
Indiana's got one.
You going to replace the guy? Did James Franklin? I mean, he improved the program. He's brought respectability, and that's what Matt Rule does. I mean, you're going to replace James Franklin with James Franklin. Okay. Because was Vandy a tough place to win?
Yes.
Okay. Was Temple a tough place to win?
Absolutely.
Was Baylor a tough place to win?
It certainly was when he got there.
But
yeah.
How many? But all of them. How many big games did they win?
Well, for that matter, how many Signetti won? Couple.
It's
Saturday, but
they were top 5 team, brother, at their place.
and
they're legitimate top 5 team. They're going to be close to top 5 at the end of the year.
And that's
okay. I beat a top 10 team earlier by 53.
So you're okay. I got it. You like Signetti better than Rule.
Just in the last 15 days, bro.
I'm not stumping for Matt Rule. Okay, I'm not his agent either.
No, Matt Rule's a very good coach, but Matt Rule is mild success.
Yeah.
So they're winning the one-score games where they were losing them all the time.
You're playing on the come. There's no doubt. But he did play there, and he does know the AD. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. You do. It just
is that the move I would make? I just told you I would have probably kept Franklin for the rest of the year and then see how it.
Matt Rule
falls.
is going to win wherever he goes. Matt Rule, he's a, but the rules have changed on Matt Rule midstream too. And I don't know if he's adapting like this guy is with less resources and less money and less support. This guy's getting it done. Who's got the better roster right now? It's not close, Indiana or Nebraska.
Oh, Indiana for sure.
Okay.
No, Signetti is the hottest thing in college football right now.
I'm
not arguing that
Indiana
at all.
could. Indiana could. Give me that basketball money. We've dumped money on this forever. Bobby Knight's gone. Okay, I mean, let's play football. So it's
be interesting.
Oh, they're out the business of paying coaches not to coach anymore, huh?
Apparently not. They took last year off. You had so few coaches.
There's your answer. There's your answer. You looking to expand? Go get Penn State in the SEC.
I believe.
No thanks.
They're not.
I believe Matt Rule has one ranked win in college football. East Carolina in his second year at Temple.
Hey, go Charlie.
Yeah, you're not putting that on the billboard. We beat ECU.
Wait, Cincinnati ranked now?
Oh, sorry. He did beat Memphis the next year.
You're not helping. You're not helping. You are not helping.
And Navy. So 3 ranked wins at Tulane. That's it. That's it.
Here's our new coach whose biggest wins are ECU,
Temple,
and Navy, and
3 wins.
Tulane's in New Orleans, boy. Temple's in Philadelphia. Come on, man. What did Chris Massero say? Max, how do you deal with these guys? You're twice as smart as, huh? I mean, you don't know the difference between Temple and Tulane, huh?
Temple.
I'll put Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111 and ocbrown.com. So, hey, you get in a wreck, call my man Dana Brown. Hey, how about this? Dad passes, got to do a succession and for his assets and things like this. And, man, it just gives me a headache trying to do all this red tape. Dana Brown and his staff are handling everything for me. Get calm in my stress and all that good stuff. So different reasons for different stages of our lives. When something comes up, you think you may need legal representation, call Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111.
Live at Chris' Specialty Food, live at Lunch 104.5, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
Back here at Chris's Live at Lunch, a couple minutes before we take you to the Brian Kelly press conference. Max, this line for Vanderbilt and LSU certainly got our attention when it came out, and then the movement thereafter. What's been going on with this line the last 24 hours?
Yes, so it kind of opened up right around pick. Depends where you were looking, but maybe either team was favored. It's now a 2.5-point favorites pretty much across the board for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is favored here, the home favorites. The look-ahead line on these last week was LSU by 3, so there has been some shift despite LSU covering against the number last week. Vanderbilt getting some support in the market so far.
And they were off last week.
Respected money all over, yeah. And I like what I saw at LSU to try and move forward. You know, some things. The running game was better. Trades, you could see that comfort zone. When you're getting hit enough, man, when you don't appreciate something even as a quarterback until you lose it for a little bit, and then he gets it back. You saw more of a preference for Nuss going to him. And so he knows he has that. So there's some interesting game. And Delicano had some real interesting thoughts about Vandy's passing game against this really good pass coverage team.
Back after the press conference here at Chris' Specialty Foods, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
Caught us by surprise there. Okay, welcome back. We're here at Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road, right across from Rufino's. Glad to have you with us there. Brian Kelly with mostly good news on the injury front, and we know the Texas A&M is going to be at 6:30 now. And he had some nice things to say about Vanderbilt. Jimmy, I think the one thing that we can say is that this is not a typical Vanderbilt team. I don't think LSU's ever played a game against Vanderbilt that was quite like this. First of all, I can't ever remember there being an underdog to Vanderbilt, no matter where the game was played.
You know, when you have these sort of magical years, like Indiana did last year, you at these non-traditional powers, do you do enough to kind of capitalize on it? Yeah. And Indiana's doing it. Cignetti is riding it. And Vanderbilt is. And I also, and he talked about sort of institutional commitment. You know, they didn't even have an athletic administrative program or an AD at one time. I mean, it was like just sitting on the side and collecting checks, taking their beatings. We'll go compete in the other sports because we can't get enough quality guys with size, strength, and speed to compete in this league. So we just go and take our licks, collect our check, and move on. It's like an 8-game rent-a-win schedule every year. They changed it, and Pavia is giving them a chance. I am very impressed with their overall roster. We know about Pavia, and we know about Pavia's impact on the locker room, on the guys that, man, we know those other guys, man, that's our leader. We know he ain't scared of nothing. And, man, they play hard, but they got a little bit more size, a little bit more speed. I go to Tom again. That Alabama game, I was really impressed with Alabama because I thought Ty Simpson played well. I thought some breaks went against Vanderbilt, 2 red zone turnovers, and they're still it's a 6-point game in the middle of the fourth quarter. And now more than ever, it's not about traditions, how much money. So you have to give your boosters, your alumni, something positive to put their money behind. Nobody wants to back just a loser. And, the results 10, 12 years ago, I mean, they're going to have problems getting people excited about supporting it with the money. Now, and they've relaxed some of the admissions with the student athletes, in which I'm fine with. You have to if you're going to compete, because the other ones are. And I think that the old little darling schedule Vanderbilt, they still have a ceiling, but that rent-a-win on your conference schedule, bro, I think that might be gone.
It'll be interesting to see if they can sustain it when Pavia leaves. Vanderbilt's had little pockets of success at times. The Franklin run.
Very little.
Very little, absolutely. The Franklin run, okay, which was
the
modest by anybody else's standard.
Not even close.
Theirs is the best.
You got to go back to the 40s and crap. Yeah, modern-day football, yes.
It's not like you haven't had any talent go through there. Jay Cutler was a first-round pick as a quarterback. But it's been just very, very little and completely unsustainable. This feels, or if you had the quarterback eventually leaves, if you got a transcendent player, when Pavia leaves, that's going to be a big void. If Vanderbilt's ever got a coach that could elevate them, well, somebody's going to come poach him. And last time that's what happened with Franklin. Is that going to happen with Clark Lee? Or are they going to make that bigger commitment? He's going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to stick it out here. I'm going to stay here. He's one of their guys. Can they fend off? I'm not saying Penn State's going to come calling for him, but can they fend off if he has post Pavia success? Can they fend off bigger fish?
I don't know.
Yeah,
you just brought up another James Franklin, so why wouldn't they go get another Vanderbilt coach? Talk about Penn State. I'm just saying, it's a lot of
might be a hard sell.
This whole Penn State thing has just got so many little layers of just fun stuff. But I think they're going to miss Pavia. I mean, anybody would miss a guy like Pavia, okay? Especially this underdog where he's got this. And Clark Lee preaches it too, but we've heard Vanderbilt coach preaches it and get their brains kicked in for years, trying to stay positive and trying to, say how many things they got great to sell in the city of Nashville and all that BS, but it's getting it done. And they're not just giving teams scares, they're beating them. They're beating some of these teams. And, I mean, when we slow down a little bit, when we get more scheduling, I want all of us to rank 1 to 16 the next 5 seasons, the power rating in the SEC, and then we'll decide who got the best shake of the permanents. We'll get to that later. Vandy's not at the bottom of my list, 1 to 5. And how many years can we say that in 35 years of doing this?
Very few. The Franklin years, they weren't the worst teams in the league.
Ooh, but they still weren't good. I mean, they would win 3 or 4 non-conference games and maybe win 3 or 2 games, get into a bowl game, and throw a party. But they rarely had a winning conference record.
I'm going to check that here real quick because I have James Franklin's record here pulled up for today.
I don't know if they ever had a winning conference record in my lifetime.
They did.
They did one time?
Franklin's second year, they were 5-3 in the league. That was in 2012.
Okay.
But it's very damn few as far as the
You got another one than that? A winning record in the league?
Winning records in the league for Vanderbilt. That one and the last time before that was scrolling, 1982.
With Taylor Lear.
George McIntyre was a coach. They went to a bowl game that year. They went
to Air Force?
Maybe. They did very good, Jimmy. They beat. They lost to Air Force. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, no,
they played.
Military schools always win the bowl games.
They did.
So they played them.
So it's 2 winning seasons since before 82. You got to go back to 1959. So that's and they were 3-2-2. Boy, that must have been a barn burner of a year, huh? 3-2-2 in the Southeast Conference in 1959.
Man. When's the last time you've been favored over a top 10 team?
Well, that's your corner of the store.
Never. I'll go never.
Never. Probably
I'll go
not.
never.
When did they ever?
50s.
Yeah. What's the highest they've ever been ranked in our lifetime? I mean, I can count probably on one hand the times I can remember them creeping into the top 25, much less the top 10.
I mean,
not very many.
They got one coach fired. It's not in the league, but they got one fired this year.
Yeah, that's right.
He swept Virginia Tech. That's enough. and that's the thing. People still think it's cute. No, this is a roster that can compete. Alabama kind of looks like the best team in the league right? They went to their place, or they could be. If not, they're in a conversation.
Close,
okay,
yeah.
I mean, they went there in a revenge spot and had some bad breaks and was still right there. That's not this little cute little gimmicky Vandy. They have more than just. And I mean, because Vandy you could get 20, 25 explosive plays left and right. You watch the game, there weren't just gobs of yardage all over. And that's for a healthy Alabama team with a healthy running back in Jam Miller, with the quarterback playing good football. I mean, they're not the little warm, fuzzy, stuffed animal that you want to schedule. They are good, man.
Just one more thing on the history of that program. If you're under the age of 40, imagine this. LSU hired a coach from Vanderbilt because he had almost won. Now, spare me the jokes about them going cheap with Jerry DiNardo, but DiNardo had 4 4 seasons where they were either 1 game below 500 or 3 games below 500. And that was enough to get him this job. Now, this job in 1995, late 1994, was not what this job is now. But that was considered a pretty impressive thing. They sold that. Say, hey, look, this guy could almost win at Vanderbilt. He can win at LSU. And he did a little bit.
And how many coaches are going to get an LSU-level job, this is how bad Vanderbilt was, and lose their last game by 65?
Yes, the last game before DiNardo took the job here, they lost 65-0 to Tennessee. And that was
This
Manning, Tennessee.
is not
no
Uncle Charlie and Uncle Jimmy's Vanderbilt, bro.
No, it's
this
not.
is not.
But again, so Clark Lee, what do we think of him as a coach?
I think they're going to have to pay him pretty soon too.
I would ask if it's Pavia. The 3 years before Pavia got there, they were 2-22 in the league.
It's all Pavia right now.
Yeah,
but they have already built this. You don't think this year's last year's team was not favored over LSU?
No.
This team is.
And they beat Alabama, but they also played Texas 3 points in Nashville last year. And Texas was pretty damn good. That game, the score was a little deceiving, but they didn't get embarrassed either.
No, they had picks, kind of a 50-50 call that would have actually.
The game wasn't as close as it appeared on the scoreboard, but they didn't.
They fell behind 14-0 in a game, 13-0, 14-0.
I think they got a little tired as the season went on.
Well, and maybe so, but the whole roster, the yardstick, Texas was clearly
should have won by more. I agree.
Well, they could afford on the road to go and hold 2 touchdowns and still win without Vandy having the ball in 1 possession game in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Okay, that's not happening this year. That is not happening, and it tells you the rest of the team, the rest of the roster is better utilized. So guess what? Peter, they'll get a win quarterback they had 10 years ago. You want to be the next Diego Pavia? Call in. You see what it does, and we're going to pay you. And I'm not saying, but they could be what Kentucky has been over the last 10 years, which we thought that Mark Stoops was getting every inch out of that program. They can easily be that.
Just one thing, too, on this, and this is a bit of a trend now in college football. I'm curious to see if it continues because it's not like parity and consistency has worked out for Penn State or Clemson. But Jerry Kill came to Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia. That's part of how I think they got him there to Vanderbilt. He's a consultant for them. He's been there the last 2 years. He's certainly a part of this. You see Ben Arbuckle goes with John Mateer from Wazoo to Oklahoma. We're seeing a few more of these coordinators. Yep, Dampier in Utah's offensive coordinator. More of these coaches kind of going with quarterbacks.
Well, you saw it because of the success last year. Now, all of these quarterbacks do a little bit things differently. But, yeah, you see these package deals. And I don't know who they convinced to go first, whether it was Pavia or Kill. I don't know. Both are good. I can tell you that.
Jerry Kill would have been a longer tenured head coach if his health would have held him.
And his stressful approach.
Yes.
He doesn't need to be. I worry about him sometimes. He's a little bit too emotionally involved in the games, but he is a no-nonsense. He's not afraid to coach. When somebody makes a real bad mental mistake, as an assistant, he'll let him know about it. He will let him know about it. So, and Pavia is just special. So, you can't reproduce the next Pavia. We can't reproduce the next 2019 team. Okay, it's not happening. But man, they've already taken the steps, Charlie. Both with this year's roster is better than it was last year, and also they're in now. Administrative support, and I think Kelly used a different term, institutional commitment. But administrative support is so important. And now you got you. When is the last time that Vanderbilt boosters, the alums who got some money, when have they had something to be as proud of as this? Never.
Baseball.
No. Football.
Nothing.
That's different sport.
Nothing.
No.
They are 5-1 right now. What is their most likely record at the end of the season?
Who they got left?
Okay, I'll give them to you. They have 4 home games: LSU, Missouri, Auburn.
Those are 2 50-50, so 1-1 with those two.
Auburn and Kentucky.
At home?
Both at home, yeah.
At least 2-2, maybe 3-1. Let's just go 2-2 with a little shade. Okay, so let's do this. 2.5. Go ahead. 2.5.
The two road games are at Texas and Tennessee.
No to Texas. They could compete, but I'm just going to say. And who's the other one?
Tennessee. To end the season.
So maybe 3-3 on those.
Okay, so they're
8-4.
That gets them to 8-4. Yeah, if you win that third home game. If you can beat out of LSU, Missouri, Auburn, and Kentucky, I don't think they win either one of the road games.
They're going to go 2-1 at home and 1-2 on the road.
And they only got 2 road games left.
I'm sorry.
So you got to go 3-1 at home and 0-2 on the road. That would get you to 8.
Well, I can tell you they're going to be double-digit dogs, probably, or maybe not Tennessee. What was Alabama favorite? Is 9.5?
What's that?
But 12 and 10.5, 12.5. They bounced around. Remember 9.5. Alabama, Tennessee. Alabama, Vandy.
Vandy.
It was right at 10, 9.5.
Yeah, something like that.
Because it was still under it at 9. It was right on the number. So, I mean, Texas 10, 11, and Tennessee 6.
And if you want to break it down even further, I think they will definitely beat Kentucky.
If they're favored over Auburn, LSU at home, they're going to be favored over Auburn at home.
Yeah. I think they will definitely beat Kentucky. I think they definitely lose at Texas. The other 4 games, I'll hear an argument. And if you split them,
and my initial to Texas is too much for them, boy. I don't think Texas is any better than Alabama. I don't think they're as good as Alabama.
No, they're about quarterbacks playing at our level. Manning's better Saturday, but
offensive line better.
No,
Alabama.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Receivers better.
Yes.
Run game better.
Yeah.
Quarterback better. Yeah. The whole game.
They're better. Yeah, they're better. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, they competed in Tuscaloosa, so they can't compete in Austin. Maybe
they can. I don't think they win. Maybe I shouldn't
Guess
say.
What, Charlie? Hey, man, a lot of games you thought they couldn't win and win it this year more than usual. Me too. Okay. Me too. Me too. But that is the toughest game on their schedule, and I'm sorry, they compete with as good, if not a tough team to them, and a revenge spot, which Texas doesn't.
Who did they beat this year, though, that you really didn't think that they were going to beat? Did you like Virginia Tech?
I did like Virginia Tech.
Okay.
I bet them.
The South Carolina game, I think if Sellers plays the whole game, it's closer.
I took Van. I was just tired of I learned my lesson. I'm tired of going against Pavia.
The other 3 games, Utah State, Georgia State, Charleston, Southern.
But look how much have the coverage, the margin.
No.
They're covering by like 20 points a game.
Blown a lot of these teams out, and there's no such thing, I'm sorry, as a rental win at Vandy. There hasn't been in the past. Those non-conference games. I mean, when they played Middle Tennessee, it was a kind of a flip of a coin. A lot of those.
I saw enough in Tuscaloosa that this team can compete.
Yeah, no,
this team can compete.
I'm worried they're going to win Saturday. Forget about compete.
Well, all the sharp money is on Vanderbilt.
I would take 21-20 LSU and get on the plane and come home.
Now, Mike Delicano says this is a similar passing attack as South Carolina. It's not a rhythmic, on-time passing attack. It is a passing attack that is off schedule a little bit in the improvisational plays by both these type of quarterbacks. As differently as they look physically, they are similar in that they won't let the ball go. He has these. Kelly talked about over 200 yards a game that could pass. Oh, well, Sellers, his numbers, top 10 passing attempt. But this matchup is very difficult for that passing game. So that's what Mike brought to the table yesterday. Don't forget our friends over at Total Maintenance. Total Maintenance. My buddy Lucas Ragusa had been a part of the AC and heating company at every different position, at every different level for forever. So, I mean, it's one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies, founded back in 1980. So, we got over 50. Our team is 50 different workers. 30 of the 50 been working for at least a decade or more over at Total Maintenance. Something happens today, we same-day service. I'm out of service today. Every day means you will never sleep hot. You call today, you get service today. We're also factory-authorized dealers for Carrier, American Standard, Daikin, and Rheem products. For generators, we're Generac and Cummings factory-authorized dealers. So we service all homes and businesses with offices and staff in both New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge number, a unit breaks down, call 480-1000, 480-1000, Total Maintenance.
Live at Chris's Specialty Foods, live at Lunch 104.5, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni. Live from Chris's Specialty Foods on Highland Road.
Yeah, it has been a minute since this was a matchup of ranked teams. Jimmy, LSU and Vandy have actually played 3 times when they were ranked. None since the 40s. They played 3 times ranked team, 1937, 1938, and 1947. So it's been a minute.
I mean, is it fair to say that the landscape of building college football programs is changing?
Yeah.
So I could tell you, Charlie, I couldn't have been more wrong, because forever in college football, you got the haves and have-nots, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we've got the tiers. You know, I mean, well, this half, when there's 12 teams in the SEC, this half is trying, and this half is just they're not. They just don't have it. But man, did you tell me Indiana is going to be a real factor? Back-to-back playoff appearances.
No,
I mean, stuff like that. So the SMU stuff, okay, they got the money to go. But Miami, all right, they're going to give their NIL stuff. I'll get it. USC, if they could get the right coach, but they had a nice win on Saturday, and they got a real stage on Saturday at South Bend. But it's just, I thought it was going to separate the haves from the have-nots. How would it not? Well, no, their budget is here already on whether they're spending it on waterfalls or barbershops in a slide in your football facility, or just pay or play, which only widening, but the competitive balance is growing more. It's backwards MLB baseball.
Well, the transfer portal eliminating the sit-out year, I think, is just as big of a factor in player movement, and so continuity has been harder, and depth has been impossible.
The depth is where that has to be, and it's keeping the super teams from being super.
Couple of baseball games before we get out of here, and NFL tonight. You got Mariners Blue Jays go at 4, Dodgers Brewers at 7. Is game 1 in the NL.
I like Snell. Keep rolling for the Dodgers here. Dodgers have not beaten Milwaukee. Got swept to both Milwaukee and Chavez Ravine in their home and home this year, but I'm going to take the Dodgers there. It's very public, but I'll take them. And the other one, I haven't broken down the afternoon when. Who's pitching?
Gilbert for Seattle, and Yasevich for Toronto.
I would go back with Seattle again.
Okay, and 2 Monday Night Football games tonight as well. You got a preference on either?
Yeah, Otterlocks, 550.
Okay, little tease there. Thanks to Chris's Specialty Foods for being our host today. Lunch every Monday through Friday. Come on over here. Look, the chicken, the pork, the beef, the seafood. Huge selection here at Chris's. Tomorrow we're at Doe's. Have a great afternoon, everybody, and stay tuned for Hunt on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.